that was a weird episode of Married at First Sight. We hit quarantined, fast forward ahead 6 weeks, and then just had these bizarre little sessions, couple by couple, with our experts who, for the most part, just gave terrible advice tonight. Like, I don't know what was going on with the experts, if they weren't understanding what all of the people on Married at First Sight were saying tonight, but it just seemed like Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper were way out to lunch today, and yeah, I just don't understand where that came from. Two kind of bombshells to go over. First off, I don't know where to start. Let's start with Henry. Let's start with Christina and Henry. And 6 weeks goes by, nothing changes with them. They have their sessions. In their sessions, nothing really changes. We get to the end of the episode, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, the episode's done. We're about to get the what's coming up, like what's going to be on next week. And all of a sudden they cut to Henry. And Henry's like, yeah, Christina's supposed to be coming over to talk because she got a text from some guy who said that I was sleeping with him. And it's like, what? This whole time? Or maybe it's just more lies. The lies was one thing that Henry brought up. It started with the living situation. Even tonight on tonight's episode, we saw Christina say she's going out for a walk when it was pretty clear she just went out drinking all night. And then we end the episode with that little bombshell, and it's like, what on earth is going on? And honestly, I think that at that point, it's very safe to see that Christina and Henry are not going to make it. It's just very bizarre. I don't know what anyone's intention in that would be, like whether if it is true, like why Henry would ever come on this show to get married at first sight when he knew that he was interested in men and not women. And then for the guy, why would he say that to Christina? Like, what does he get out of it? And like, honestly, this is a little bit conspiracy theory. The only thing I could come up with is if someone put the guy up to it to help sabotage the relationship with Henry and Christina, because one of Henry's friends, and we know who we're talking about here, wanted Henry all to herself. That's it. That's the best I can come up with. But what a way to end the episode. I was going to come on here and be like, yeah, we're 6 weeks ahead. Nothing's changed for any of our couples. Like, what a waste and all this. And then we get hit with the Henry bombshell and just kind of like scrambled my entire brain. Anyways, let's move on to our next couple. Obviously, we got to talk about Olivia and Brett. Before the quarantine started, their relationship was terrible. And tonight, they finally officially put an end to things. And I gotta say, good riddance to Brett. I honestly feel for Olivia. I do feel like she was there for the right reasons. Her heart really wanted this, and Brett was just clearly a person who was not ready and not capable of succeeding under these circumstances. And then we got all the BS with the situation where Olivia went to see her parents. Obviously, Brett wasn't very happy about it. He felt like, they're in quarantine and that means no going anywhere or doing anything. And then Brett tried to pawn off the responsibility of the decision of him to just up and pack up all his stuff, take all the food, and head out while Olivia wasn't home. He tried to put the blame on her cat even. He tried to put the blame on her cats beating up his cats. And it's like all season long, we've seen Brett as a man just unwilling to take responsibility for anything. You know, he wants to play that blame game nonstop, and it was clear all season long that his communication capabilities are zero, pathetic. You know, he is probably one of the worst people we've ever seen on this show, period. And, you know, ultimately, I just feel very bad for Olivia. And honestly, very much hope that she does end up finding someone in her life, because she seems like someone who genuinely deserves that. All right, let's move on. Next up, I'd like to talk about Karen and Miles. You know, we're 6 weeks fast forward, and honestly, it feels like they've made no progression whatsoever, and that can't be good for their relationship. You know, in the end, I think that Miles just needs someone who can reciprocate something to him. He's a very youthful, playful person, and Karen just seems like someone who gives back none of that. You know, you always get that from Miles' body language, that he wants to be having fun. He wants to be not just goofing around, but he wants to be playful and lively. And you just see Karen sitting there. She's got her arms crossed, or like covering up her body a little bit, turning away from him. All signs that she's just not interested in that person. And it seems like Miles is just putting in all of his effort just so things can be okay between them. And honestly, I just feel like at this point, if you just spent 6 weeks locked up together and you're barely even touching each other, that this relationship is just not going to work. I had a little bit of optimism going for them, but after tonight's episode, I'm going to rescind that, and I just don't see much hope for them moving forward. Let's move on. Amelia and Bennett. Obviously things are great between them still. I love watching them on the camera. I just love seeing them in general. And they do have some big issues between them still. One being kids. And I'm kind of the opinion that, you know, if you're in a relationship, you should be on the same page of both either wanting or not wanting kids. But beyond that, you always have to give preference to the person who wants the least. So if, say you're with somebody, they want 5 kids, you want 2, then guys should have 2 kids. You know, if you want to have kids right now and they want to have kids in 3 years, you should have kids in 3 years, because that's a huge life moment. And to force someone into that, you know, you could have some small degree of resentment there. And I believe it was Amelia and Bennett who said tonight that, you know, Amelia said, like, when we have kids, I want you to be really excited about those kids. I want you to be really ready for those kids. And that is the perfect mentality. So, yeah, just more reasons to love Amelia and Bennett. And then the big sort of reveal for them was that, you know, Bennett's been on the fence about moving, doesn't really want to move to Virginia, but he did make a little bit of a compromise and say that he would split his time between Virginia and New Orleans. So that was very good, and hope that Bennett upgrades that decision to living in Virginia full time. You know, I feel like if I was in Amelia's position and in this marriage like she is, it would kind of be a deal breaker for me if that other person was unwilling to move. You know, obviously that's not the position she has. She's very open and very much wanting everything to work. And I really just hope that these two find a way to make the long distance work, or make that long distance a lot shorter by just living together. And lastly, we have Woody and Amani. In the end, they're still doing great, and I'm very optimistic for this couple. They did have a little bit of a road bump when they were in quarantine. You know, kind of had a little bit of an argument over Woody possibly hiding some things on his phone. And it seemed like Woody and Amani were able to resolve that, which was great to see because I really want this couple to make it. I really have enjoyed them this season, especially Amani. I just think she seems like a very interesting person with a great head on her shoulders. And when somebody's like that's on one of these shows, you really want to see them succeed. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting for this season. We've got two couples doing great, one couple that's called it quits, and two couples that things are very much in dire need of help. And at this point, I think you'd have a better shot at swapping Miles and Henry and ending up with a marriage out of that than you would by keeping these couples together. So not sure what's going to happen with them or how long they're going to stay together, especially Christina and Henry. With the bombshell that we got hit with at the end of the episode, I just can't see that couple recovering from that. So yeah, they're just on borrowed time now, and we could see the second couple go down as soon as next week. That's going to be it for me tonight. I've got no idea what's in store for us for the weeks ahead on Married at First Sight. But until then, I hope that you guys all come back soon, and we will see you later.